Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but also let's not forget about the new Star Wars TV shows in the works, as well as the new Star Wars movies that will all be announced at Star Wars Celebration and other future events that will take place later this year and into 2023 as well. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do post a couple of entertaining things from time to time and really make sure to interact with you guys further. So what's even all the more exciting right now is that yes, we have Star Wars TV shows on the horizon such as Andor, Kenobi, Mando Season 3, Bad Batch Season 2. I mean, there's a lot coming our way for this year and even next year for 2023 with the Ahsoka series and the Mandalorian Season 4 and a lot of other things in the pipeline over at Lucasfilm. And that brings us to Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Now, we already know that they are heavily working on not just the post-return of the Jedi era, but they're also working on other timelines of Star Wars, such as ones that take place before Episode 1, ones that take place after Episode 9. They really are creating an expansive Star Wars universe to really give them the opportunity to explore different angles of the universe that we have yet to have seen in the Star Wars universe under Disney and Lucasfilm. Now, with that being said, we already know that shows like Ahsoka are very well into development. They're going to begin filming that in April of this year. They were supposed to begin filming next month, but it got delayed a little bit, not because of anything bad or anything like that, but they just wanted to add more to the story, add more to the script, build new sets, and that's exactly what caused the delay. So Ahsoka is going to begin filming in the beginning to mid of April, and that's really going to kickstart everything related to the 2023 lineup of Star Wars shows. So with that being said, however, with both Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau building Star Wars from the ground up, they are also getting ready to announce a ton of new Star Wars shows at Celebration this year that will truly take fans by surprise. However, in a recent interview with creator Dave Filoni, he went on to reveal something very significant about the future of Star Wars and how it will impact the sequel trilogy movies. Dave Filoni goes on to state that myself and Jon Favreau have been taking a lot of time to figure out what we need to do with shows like Mando and Ahsoka, and how it's going to impact or change the entirety of the sequel trilogy movies. It's no secret that there are many fans out there that have problems with the newest movies, and what myself and Jon are doing with these new TV shows is that we are going to be building towards something new and different that is going to essentially change many avenues for the sequel trilogy films and how you see all of them. Now, we are all set and ready to change many elements of the lore while keeping some pieces of the lore from the sequels intact. You see, it's all about how we are going to be altering some of the timelines in the beautiful world that Lucas created for us many years ago. We have already had in-depth conversations with George on the choices that we make and how it will change the fans' view of the sequel trilogy movies. So, once again, let me just stop right here for 1 second. Now, Dave Filoni, of course, is kind of shying away from the question, but he's also answering the question at the same exact time. But this, of course, alludes to everything of what's happening with the World Between Worlds in the Ahsoka Tano series. We'll get to that in just a second, which, by the way, is going to be a very big and significant part of the plot of the Ahsoka series. Now, given that, of course, a lot of things are happening for the mandoverse and other Star Wars TV shows out there, Jon and Dave have been very busy creators, probably the busiest creators in the film industry over at Hollywood. We already know that they are working on over a dozen Star Wars projects at once, a mixture of course, movies and TV shows, and they are in charge of some of the Star Wars lore, that of course being what happens in the books, the novels, and yes, even the comics. So there's a lot at play here, and there's a lot that Jon and Dave are working with to really keep themselves busy and to really make sure that Star Wars is indeed going to thrive and survive. So moving on from this, alright? So a lot of this is going to have to do with characters such as Luke, Grogu, and even those characters that are close to Skywalker, Filoni says, and his path in between episodes 6 and 7, and how we are going to be taking different paths to change how people view episodes 7 through 9. We know that this is a very tough road for us to handle, and we need to make choices very carefully when exploring the story of Ahsoka and the Mando installments that so many fans have grown to love now. Separate from what Filoni stated is that this all alludes to what both Favreau and Filoni have planned for the Ahsoka series. Both Jon and Dave are going to be using the world between worlds in the Ahsoka show, which is essentially a realm or dimension that gives access to different points in time through the use of portals that can change the past and or the future. Much like how Ezra Bridger changed Ahsoka's fate in Star Wars Rebels Season 4. Now, Dave and Jon will be doing just that with some of the sequel trilogy characters in the Ahsoka Tano series that will have a great impact and change on the sequel trilogy films. It's described that the characters so far that will have an impact are both Ben Solo and Luke during the sequel trilogy. This is something that both Jon and Dave are taking a lot of their time with to make sure that they are making the right decisions for the future of Star Wars, where Dave and Jon will also be using revolutionary technology to create the world between worlds in great detail for the fans to enjoy. Now, one thing about the world between worlds that I believe a lot of Star Wars fans need to be very well aware of is that in the live-action version, it's going to be quite different than what we saw in Star Wars Rebels. We're going to be seeing different portions of this mysterious realm in the Star Wars universe and exactly learning more about exactly how it was created and how it involves the father, the son, and the daughter in different ways. Now, that's one thing. The other thing is that Dave and Jon are going to be adding more onto the lore of the world between worlds and its connection to the netherworld of the Force, which basically is the afterlife for the Jedi. You know, where the Force ghosts go, you know, where they actually go to after, you know, they meet their demise. Now, that's one thing about Jon and Dave is that they are being very careful with the Ahsoka series because it's going to be very Force heavy. It's going to have a lot to do with the cosmic force. It's going to have a lot to do with the netherworld, the world between worlds, and all these different realms and dimensions. It's going to be pretty much, from what a lot of fans are understanding, is the Doctor Strange 2 of Star Wars, right? It's going to be the multiverse of madness of Star Wars, even though this has nothing to do with the multiverse per se, but it's going to be on that scale. It's going to be on that level of, of absolute, craziness of what Jon and Dave are going to be doing with Star Wars at, a different point in time. So it is still labeled as a post-Episode 6 era Star Wars show, but it's also going to include a lot of flashbacks for Ahsoka Tano to explore in Star Wars. Kind of similar to what they did with the Book of Boba Fett. We have present time and you have flashbacks. They're going to be doing that, but not quite as extensive per se. And it is going to have longer episodes and more episodes in comparison to The Mandalorian Season 2. So that's also a good thing. Now, overall, I think the fact that this show is going to have a higher budget, it's going to be more cinematic, it's going to be more movie-like, which is going to make it even all the more enjoyable. I will go as far to say that the Book of Boba Fett, though it was entertaining, there were points in time where it felt very much like a fan film, the way that it was shot in some of the Robert Rodriguez episodes, especially in, the beginning of the season. There were some scenes where it just felt very much like a fan fiction type of thing. I don't know about you guys, but that's just my point of view. Anyways, drop a comment below. Let me know through all this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.